Hi, so sorry, Hasan. Mind if I take a second? Because I didn't get through a ballot to the meet and read, but would you mind signing a book for me?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks so much, man.
Thank you very much.
I'll get the pen inside. And much appreciated for your advocacy.
Oh, hell yeah! Thank you. Thank you for watching.
I also have a question. Galatasaray.
Oh my God, my dad would kill me. We're a Fenerbahce family.
All right. Okay.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thanks,
Thank you.
I'm Kirill, by the way.
Kirill?
Here. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
What's going on, man?
I've got a quick question. Well, first of all, thanks for coming around.
Oh, of course.
Second of all, do you feel that, like, as your platform grows, this manner in which you have to communicate your topics and what topics you choose changes? And how does that go along with, like, the evolution and growth of platforms like Twitch going forward?
No, I mean, it might be the case for other people, but no, I've maintained the same exact positions and have the same fire and same heat for it for years now. You can go back and watch, like, I don't know, things that I've talked about 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and you'll see, like, it's identical. Oftentimes, that's what makes my commentary a little bit easier, I think, because in many instances, I'm just, given the problems are unchanging.
Yeah, have you got the...
In many instances, I found myself repeating.
Yeah, and you've got the list,
same
right?
exact things.
Okay, you can...
the same exact statements in general. What's up?
Yeah, this whole one here.
Okay.
I'll let...
Yeah, no problem. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Where is it happening? Here? Should we just go over there?
Yeah, if that's all right. I think the stuff's already in there. Cool.
I think people really liked it I mean, I haven't seen my chat, but they did? All right, good.
I'm glad.
I don't know why people think that when they, like in real life, if they treat it like a gray name, that they're gonna come across like sound and confident.
Yeah.
I don't think they understand that. In their head, I think in many instances, people in their minds, like they're like, oh yeah, this is going to be my pop-off moment. But then when in practice, when you're in person against someone, especially someone on a podium, it's very intimidating.
Yeah.
And that's why they come across as like kind of silly.
I'm gonna run the tripod really quick, okay? You hear me?
Would you say that? Yeah. Would you say that Ben Shapiro got more naysayers, or I did?
Oh, I think he got more naysayers. Well, he did a bit differently. We got people to actually come up and debate against him. You know, I saw you reading the people from a certain community planning their.
I mean, and it did happen, but I think it's silly overall.
No,
I don't know why they thought it would go down differently than it actually did.
I thought it went down well. There were a good balance of people.
Yeah, it would have been boring if everyone was like glazing.
The last few questions were just...
I didn't want to end on George Galloway.
That wasn't a question.
George Galloway mention. Although no, we can...
What's up?
Why do you think so many former Young Turks end up joining the right after a while?
Oh my God, I don't know. If only I knew. Trust me. It's become a breeding ground for the Jimmy Dores of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people. I mean, I've had this conversation with Jank as well on Jank's Giving. It's just like, I think it comes from hopelessness, where people just like look at the situation and they're like, nothing's changing. You know what I mean? So then in their minds, I think they're like, well, let's just stop the bleeding. And the quickest solution always is going to be like right-wing reactionary solutions to ongoing problems. It's much harder to solve poverty, intergenerational poverty, than it is to simply say, yeah, we got to lean into the crime panic and we have to like do something about criminals. They're going crazy.
So do you think it's more of a right-wing grift, or do they genuinely change their position?
Yes. I think they genuinely have changed their positions, I think, which is kind of sadder, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, on some issues, I think they have. They have changed their positions.
No, it's just very interesting. I've been watching the Young Turks for like a decade, I think.
Yeah.
Seeing so many people leave is just...
Well, I mean, there's the regular grifters like Dave Rubin. Yeah. Like that, he was never really all that invested. Like he was just like a media person, right? He didn't care. Whatever buttered his bread, he was going to go in that direction no matter what. So that one makes sense. And then there's the cranks that I think like start leaning into the crank side of things, and they're so invested in being anti-establishment that they end up championing the right, which is weird because it's like you're not outside of the orbit of politics. You're literally just a right-winger now, which is the most establishment. It's the most successful out of the two. It's more successful out of the two parties. And I think that's another thing that occurs.
Thanks so much. I don't want to disturb you.
No problem.
Yeah.
Your parents are gonna go get food.
Okay, good. Chad, did you like it? Bro, the fists in this room go incredibly hard. Yeah, it's just like how British people
Say hi.
dress. This is how it is.
It's freeform.
Call that in the Cambridge Halls?
What?
Little March call that in the Cambridge Halls?
Yeah. Yeah. Get your money up, Mark.
Yeah.
What's up?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I watch you every day.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Ever since like the election cycle started.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, I'm sorry that things didn't pan out well for America or the future of this country, or future of any country, really.
Not really, no.
I just wondered, where do you get your information on? Because like you seem to be right on almost everything. Like the elections.
I mean, I think like as far as like predictions goes, I'm not like interpreting events or like rehashing what any like legacy publisher is saying or any commentator is saying. It's more so I'm looking at it from the lens of materialist analysis and judging it by like party track record and what has happened in the past. And I think that's where it comes from. But there's still plenty I get wrong. I mean, I still thought that like while the Harris campaign was taking on a dangerous gamble, I still said that there is a chance that she could eke out a marginal victory in the Electoral College while still losing the popular vote to Donald Trump. And she lost. I thought that the blue wall would potentially hold, and it didn't. So, you know, I'm not always on the money. I try my best, though. Yeah, it is, yeah. What?
Top of the hour.
Oh, no, I don't run the app breaks anymore. So, but yeah, nice to meet you, man. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Do you want it sideways?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi, nice to meet you.
What's up, man? Nice
I
to meet
got
you.
a question that I didn't get to ask.
All right, what's up? Let's hear it. This is a sick jacket. What's going on
So
here?
Yeezy Gap.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So 2 weeks ago, Slavoj Žižek was at Oxford, and he spoke about similar to what you're talking about with the Western, like nationalist and authoritarian parties increasingly coming to power. He pointed out that one kind of side effect that comes with this is the political class and the media, but also the public, a rise of shamelessness in society.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
he proposed that we need an increased shamefulness in how we operate and conduct and act with each other.
Like shame others, or does he mean like we have to be shameful?
So everyone, the political class, media, but the public as well, needs an increased sense of shamefulness as a society to continue functioning. What are your
Interesting.
thoughts on that?
I mean, I think Slavo needs to be a little bit exercise a little bit of shame himself. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting theory. It seems patently anti-materialist. So
No, but he's very materialist.
yeah, so I don't know where he's coming from with that, but he said a lot of stuff that I don't fully agree with as of late. So who knows? But I mean, I think his old works they stand for themselves. They're good.
And what do you think of like Norman Finkelstein?
I love Norm.
Yeah.
He's the GOAT. Yeah. Norm is, with the exception, I think, like anything outside of his chronicling of Gazan history and the Palestinian struggle and Palestinian oppression, everything outside of that, I often will not pay a lot of attention to, whether it's like social issues or whatever. I mean, he's a boomer. He has a landline still, you know? So I don't think he's like gonna understand trans people. Like, I just don't think that's not my expectation. But he is probably one of the most vindicated men in American academia at this point, because virtually every single thing that he has been championing for many, many years has now become almost commonly held opinions. And yeah, I mean, I think he is he's a fantastic academic. He is a very stubborn man. I really appreciate that. I think I'm a stubborn guy as well. And you know, I hope to be as I hope to have an impact as important as his one day, maybe.
Cheers, man. Can I get a picture of you?
Yeah, of course.
Cheers, thank you. Can Mando get a picture? Cheers. Alright. Thank you, cheers.
What's going on?
I also have a bit of a question.
All right, let's hear
It
it.
is like 500 years old.
Do you think, congrats on your recent CNN appearance, do you, I don't know if it's worthy of congratulations, but it's like, do you ever feel like you have to compromise on your values in terms of how vocally and how brightly sort of you discuss certain topics in order to get the opportunity to speak on more mainstream platforms? Or do you feel like it's more important to stay true to your own values in terms of how you talk about and how you message on particularly more?
I think I always stay true to my values, but I also value the importance of reading the room, and not everything has to be like almost hysterical. You know what I mean? Like I try to moderate my perspective with the full knowledge of the audience that is receiving it, and I think that's a really. I mean, I urge others to do that as well, to put their best foot forward to the best of their ability, and maybe not even get emotional, you know. It's just, you know, I definitely, I wouldn't say I moderate my perspective, but I definitely try to be. Wait, March.
Yeah.
You can film this. We're talking politics.
Oh, I was just showing chat the room.
Yeah. But yeah, I try to moderate my position. Never compromising on my values, but I try to moderate it because I'm aware of the audience that I think is receiving it, if that makes sense.
Well, great speech.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, nice to meet you.
UK.
No.
We've got 5 more years before.
If I get fired, it's on you guys.
Yeah, but also the weather is ass. The weather's ass. The sun sets at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
What kind of you want? What were you doing? Cheers.
All right, no problem. Hi. Nice to meet you.
I've been watching you since 2019.
Oh, hell yeah.
I used to watch you when I was waiting at the hospital. So it was really helpful listening to you, and that you've been a voice for left-wing politics, especially because everything seems really right-leaning. But although when I do watch your streams on YouTube, I do get recommendations for Ben Shapiro, so that's really lovely.
Yeah, the right wing floods the market with a lot of junk, so it's hard to overcome that. And I think YouTube, whether they're aware of it or not, I don't know, but they definitely do facilitate this like this unlimited, unrestricted amount of right wing content on the platform. Yeah.
That's why I kind of use your streams like a buffer zone when you watch their videos, so it's actually bearable.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, because I do routinely criticize Ben Shapiro and the like, so that's probably the other reason why the algorithm picks it up. Yeah. You want to take a photo? All right, let's do it.
Surely signing up for that.
Okay, got a few. Thank you.
Okay.
Really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
You can just ask him that.
Question.
What's up?
How optimistic are you that the Democratic Party will embrace left-leaning,
I think if I know anything about Hasan, he would like everybody to at least get a chance to get a picture or something.
I don't
feel like there's hope.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not optimistic. I think that's never going to happen unless there's like genuine pressure.
Do the whole line.
Genuine pressure from the likes of the UAW, for example. Like the Democratic Party relies on certain institutions like unions still to drive turnout. Uses that as a network to get people to go out and vote. And if left to their own devices, they'll just keep losing. They're perfectly fine being graceful losers and fundraising off of like the horrifying things that the Republican Party does. So I think that there needs to be a more solid network, a mechanism of pressure that will force the Democratic Party to concede. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
The voices. Or can we see the roof? Okay, just really quickly.
Awesome, thank you.
Right, nice to meet you. What's up?
Hi, thank you for the talk. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, nice to meet you. Thank you for watching.
So one question I have is, well, I feel like most of arguments about Palestine, especially not only about the current conflict but the sort of broader situation, focus on things like colonialism or comparisons to white supremacy. And I personally come from Poland, where I feel like these topics aren't really taken very seriously. I mean, like the most sort of connection with imperialism might be old communist propaganda or stuff like that. So how do you think the arguments could be adapted to work better in such environments?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I guess maybe you could point to the Nazis. That's one aspect that you could point back to. I don't really know how Poland sees Israel. Like, I don't know what the dynamic is there at all. But yeah, I rarely use academic language describing the atrocities that are unfolding in Gaza. I don't think there is a reason to talk about like imperialism of that sort. I mean, I do consider Israel to be a settler colonial entity, which it is, but overall, I think it's a much simpler argument that you can present, where you're like, these guys are just killing a ton of Palestinians, and they're doing it with the full unconditional support of the West. And in countries like mine, for example, the simplest argument that I see have a tremendous amount of success is, your roads we have potholes, our internet sucks, nothing is good, housing is impossible to obtain, and we have natural disasters. And then our congresspersons are giving $18 billion to Israel so they can, continue baby murder. And it's like, that's ridiculous. Most Americans, regardless of their background, look at that and go, that doesn't make any sense. So I think that's something that you can present as an argument as well, which is that, like, why are they doing that? Like, why? This is like untenable. It's destabilizing, and it's unfair and unjust. So I think that's probably a better way to communicate that than talking about like imperialism or white supremacy. Especially because like Israel is, I mean, there is white supremacy there, but whiteness in that regard is something totally different than like the black-white dynamic in America. Because most Israeli Jews are Mizrahi and Sephardi, and those guys don't look any different than the non-Jewish Arabs that live in the region. They look the same. So it's not exactly whiteness in general. Even the likes of Itamar Ben-Gvir, I mean, he's Iraqi. He's from Iraq. He looks like an Arab uncle because he is Arab. He's Arab and Kurdish. So it's too complex for people to understand, because then you'd have to describe whiteness as like proximity to power and all this stuff. So you don't need to engage with it in that regard. I hope that was helpful. I don't know.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, no problem.
Curious, Polish Socialist Party.
Oh, okay. How many people does the PPS have? Is it? I don't know enough about Polish politics.
Currently, we are in the government, though a small part. But we're coming back. Don't worry.
Okay. All right.
Can you take a photo for me? Thanks.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
What's up?
I am Riyadh. I am from India, and
nice to meet you.
I have a question like you too. I have a question that right now that right wing is at par, and across the globe that right wing is comparatively ruling the major of the countries. So how you see that, as you are a left wing oriented people, so how you can comparatively defend the right of the left wing people or the minority on that? Because in my country it's also happening in India right now.
Yeah.
Right wing ruling in India, and the religious minority like Muslims are prosecuted out there and become political prisoner, and we are not have a right to speak freely, right, something like that. So how you suggest to
it's tough. You just got to keep organizing no matter what, and have a network that you can rely on when the time comes, because there's like not really much you can do if we're going full tilt fascism. then the only people you can rely on are your neighbors in that regard, and have a network of organizations that you can go back to engage in some semblance of community defense. So that's what it is. Outside of that, you just keep trying to utilize the available legal avenues that exist to continue advocacy and to continue fighting for human rights in the process. Yeah.
Do you not think it's like the push accent? No. It's the That's crazy.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hi.
Just want to say I'm a really big fan.
Oh, nice to meet you.
I don't have anything in particular to say.
Okay. It's all good. You want to take a photo?
Yes, please.
All right, let's do it.
Thank you.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I'm Judah.
Nice to meet you.
I grew up in Chicago, so I was kind of wanting to talk to you about the DNC and your
Okay.
overall experience there this summer. Because I had this feeling, like when I was there, that there was this weird, like, dichotomy of the Democrats going really right-wing on some, like, military issues, immigration, and then simultaneously, like, propping up, like, do you know that image of, like, a warplane with the trans flag on
Yeah.
that's dropping the bombs?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I heard that you got kicked out on the last day.
Yeah.
Right? And
Well, I didn't get
curious
fully
what your
kicked out.
hope-
They just made it so that it was impossible to stream. But that's it. It was a very polite.
The DNC.
It was a very polite way to kick me out. I still appreciated the time I had there. So, you know. But what was the question?
No, just overall your opinions on like the direction of the DNC as like a convention.
Yeah, I mean they went super right wing. They had cops, border patrol guards, people like that on stage. Who they didn't allow space inside of that tent also matters, like Palestinian Americans, even though they're Democratic Party delegates, trans people, just like advocates and activists of many different backgrounds that normally make up a big part of the constituencies of the Democratic Party. Like they were not afforded the same speaking time. And I think they just, I mean, that's the reason why they lost. They,
I'm the meme of the soldier.
They went into a
The blank
treacherous
stare.
territory in right-wing politics, and they knew that they were always going to get dominated in that space. But I guess they didn't think about it clearly. They thought this is a successful method to win over voters, but
I guess where I struggle a little bit with like leftist politics in the States though is that I think Jill Stein is a grifter. I think she is
I agree.
literally a bot for Russia. And I see this really difficult path forward to be anywhere but try to make the Democratic Party better.
I mean, I agree with that for the most part. Yeah, I think that is what's that's the only way out of this. Other than that, it's just like a complete collapse of the uniparty approach that we have, and then who knows what happens after that. Yeah.
Thanks for
Nice to
speaking.
meet you.
I'm sure you're quite tired.
Yeah. No, it's all good. Hi.
Hi.
Hasan.
Gemma. I've been a fan for ages.
Hell
Really
yeah.
nice to meet you. I had a question. So, looking at the UK specifically, kind of the future of the progressive left. Like, if we're thinking electorally, like, do you think it would be worth trying to push the Labour Party to the left, or do you think now, you know, with Corbyn gone, like, that's kind of never going to happen? Like, do you think we should look at third-party alternatives?
I don't know.
Do you think it's just a very long road?
I don't know. I don't know what like a junior coalition partner can do in terms of like making demands known. If the Labour Party will fail on its own, no matter what. If they continue along with austerity agendas and anti-immigrant sentiment and the like, without addressing any of the material harms that people are experiencing. So in that process, I think it's important to have, like, we don't have third-party options in America in the same way that you guys do. At least you have the Greens, right? And you have even independent parties that can form and maybe even see a lot of success in a short period of time, like Reform, but that's right-wing, so it's a little bit different. There's more space for growth there. But overall, I think maybe there's an opportunity to apply pressure as a smaller party with coalition building. But at least as far as I've seen, I think that Labour is probably more amenable than Macron was, for example, in France. So I think there's more opportunity there. But ultimately, it should still be trying to restore Labour to its former glory, I guess, and not have this right-wing, lighter Tory version of the party that it now is. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, it was so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi,
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you.
Do you have any particular questions for you?
You don't.
Takes on Hong Kong and China.
Takes on Hong Kong and China. Oof. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. We'll see. Only time will tell what Chinese rulership over Hong Kong looks like. It's the Chinese governance is very oppressive on social issues. Totally understand why people in Hong Kong would be like, this sucks. But I think the only way to make up for that is by continuing, better land use, continuing to develop, and also, creating a ton more housing that alleviates some of the pressure that people are feeling in Hong Kong. Because I feel like housing is a major problem there. So, that's the only thing I can say about it. Other than that, I mean, it makes total sense to not want to be ruled in a way that where you're fearful of political expression that previously you were not worried about.
Makes sense.
Yeah. You want to take a photo? Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much.
No problem. What's going on?
Much for getting
nice to meet you guys.
European mind into American politics at a young age. It's much appreciated.
Hell yeah! I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's real brain rot over there.
We sat next to your mum. It was just a lovely experience. She had a lot of questions. So
oh wow! Okay.
Get to have a nice night in Cambridge.
Yeah, I will. Hopefully. It's very nice here. It's quaint. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's great.
You guys want to take a photo?
Yeah, that'd be great. And then we've got to rush to a full actually. So. Do you want us to take a
Yeah,
cheers.
This one seems
All right.
Okay, thanks so much.
Nice to meet you guys.
Hello.
What's going on? Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
My name is Tia. I don't know why it says.
I thought you handled yourself very well.
Yeah, there were so many questions that were quite attacking.
They said that I had more contentious questions than even Ben Shapiro did.
Really?
Yeah.
To be fair, there was a big protest when you came, so I
Yeah.
You're slightly less controversial than Ben Shapiro, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen one more controversial. To be fair, when Jeremy Vine came, my best friend ended up arguing with him across the thing. But happens.
Were you going to meet up with Jeremy Corbyn? What happened?
So yeah, his team reached out, but unfortunately he has like some prior obligations until Saturday, so it's not going to happen this time around. But every single time I come to England, I'm like this much closer, and inevitably it'll happen.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Actually, a lot of people.
A lot of people don't love him. I wonder if people interpret it differently now that in like the post-October 7 world, because like a lot of people falsely smeared him as an anti-Semite, and I think there's a lot of like that narrative continued, and I think people just like never gave it an afterthought. They just kind of went along with it without really questioning it. And I wonder if people's analysis of that has changed at all. But I don't know. I don't know how like big the pro-Palestine movement is in England. I feel like I've seen a lot of.
Pretty big. It's definitely big here in Cambridge. I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely big in London. There's been protests every Saturday in London. Since I think.
Yeah, like tens of thousands of people and stuff. So.
I think a lot of people are lying. I mean, he was voted as an independent recently.
Corbyn is one of like the most loved politicians in the UK, whilst being one of the most hated politicians.
Always the way though.
Yeah.
Feel highly loved.
But like, I think most people who actually properly understand who he is like him. But obviously, the media here is just like the media.
Oh, it's worse. I think British media is worse than American media. Yes, I think American media is stupider. Like American media is dumber. They're more like invested in like silly conspiracy theories and stuff. British media is vicious.
It is. I mean, Meghan Markle.
Yeah, they're pretty scathing and they're pretty vicious. Like, I mean, even Piers Morgan. I go on a show all the time. Like, But he's like, didn't he do the paparazzi thing? Like he like leaked people's, like that's vicious. That's like really.
I don't know how you go on his show, to be honest.
I don't either.
I don't know how patience.
It's hard. That's why I do it sparingly. I don't do it all the time.
Yeah, I would run out of patience very quickly.
All right, you want to take a photo?
Yeah, of course, thank you. Would one of you mind? Yeah, use your phone.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, love to meet you.
What's up, man?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oliver. Been a fan for a while. I'm a bit nervous in front of 30,000 people. So
Don't worry.
Oh,
but
I can look away.
But yeah, I enjoyed the talk. Nice to meet you.
You are taller than me. Is that what you're looking at? Yeah. You are.
Maybe just to get a screenshot from the camera.
Do you ball?
A little. I started like this term. I'm not great.
Oh, you just. That's a waste of height, man. You got to start balling.
Well, on and off this term.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Nice to meet you as well. Yeah, of course.
I'm taller than both of them.
Right. Nice to meet you. Hi.
I'm Ida, and I'm really sorry to bring up something a little bit old, but I have this favorite thing that you said was a couple years ago, I think. You said that One Piece is Marxist and Luffy's a terrorist.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's true. It's still true.
Yeah, absolutely. That was actually what got me interested in what you do, and also what got me interested in watching One Piece. So
hell yeah.
actually did a really good job for me as well.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
So my question is, what do you think the role is of popular media in conveying politics and political ideals in the current day?
I mean, I think media always plays catch up with whatever is going on in the real world, right? So I don't place a lot of emphasis on like the power that it has to change. I wouldn't say change people's minds, because that's kind of what I try to do to the best of my ability. But overall, even from my own personal experience, like when I have seen the most impact is when there are people like Bernie Sanders out there that are communicating these ideas from the largest podium available. And only then do people actually start recognizing the importance of movements such as like leftist politics. So overall, I think political media is important, but it's always going to be downstream to material realities and the things that people experience.
Thank you.
No problem.
Would it be okay if we take a photo together?
Yeah. He's already snapping while we were talking.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem. What's going on?
I don't really have a question. I've just been a big fan. I watched him more when I was like 15, 16.
Hell yeah.
And you got me interested in politics and now study politics.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
You want to take a photo?
Yeah. Can I use my phone? I must get bored of this.
No, not at all.
Surely.
This is great. I get to meet people.
Thank you so much.
What's going on, man?
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I've been watching you for years, and I think you're doing an incredible job. And I think that you do a very important job, especially because I think the media nowadays is shifting a lot towards the far right.
Yeah.
And I think you should keep on going. And I think you're very, very funny. And
thank you.
My question to you is, because I'm trying to take advantage of this attention economy that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is like an advice that you could give me, how to take advantage and how to maybe like build a personal brand?
Be yourself, and also find things that are not immediately political that you're interested in, and show that you're a multifaceted person.
Okay.
Because I think that politics in and of itself will bring you a lot of attention, both negative and positive. But overall, it's kind of boring and dull. But if you want to reach a broader audience, you always have to show that you're a normal person with real hobbies and things like that. And that's what I try to do, at least.
Okay, and also,
that's what I've seen success in.
Thank you very much. And also, how's the body transformation had an impact on your just on your overall streaming and your life?
Pretty good. I mean, it creates a lot of mental fortitude. I think I'm more confident. I'm happier, so I can withstand a sea of attacks and smears and whatnot without really thinking about it at all. And it keeps me stable. Like it keeps me grounded. So it's been great.
All right. Thank you very much.
No problem. You want a photo?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Good.
Okay.
Better if you're looking around the room and exploring. That was fun.
What's going on?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It was so good, so thoughtful. I love that you also had the Jeb Bush moment where you was sort of like, please clap.
Oh, yeah.
The Oxford.
Well, I mean, I was more so memeing.
Yeah. Don't do the same in the Oxford. I think you're speaking tomorrow there as well, right?
Yeah, I'm speaking to Oxford tomorrow. I'm going to be like, yeah, Cambridge sucks.
Did you see your Spotify rap? What's your top artist?
I don't have a Spotify rap. I don't use Spotify.
You don't use it?
I don't listen to music at all, which is weird. I know everyone always says I'm so weird for it, but yeah, I don't really listen to any music.
Music, can I have a picture?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks. Just love to meet you. Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
What's going on? Nice to meet you, my man.
I have nothing of substance to say to you.
It's all good.
I'm really sorry. I wish I had something.
No, you don't have to.
I wish I had something interesting to say. So can we just?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do the first.
No, that's cool too.
Well, your phone's really bad. I'm sorry. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Casey.
Hi, Casey. Nice to meet you.
I don't really have any questions either, except how are you finding Cambridge? Have you ever been?
It's beautiful. I've never been.
Yeah, it's
I like it. I like it more than I like London. I think it's very nice.
I think
Why are you making faces over there, March?
I like it.
I like
beautiful.
it. It's pleasant.
You need to go to Jack's. I think that's my.
Is that the pub?
No, it's ice cream store.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe.
Yeah, I would say that's the best place.
It's the best place.
Okay. I believe you. Let's do it. Which side? This side?
I don't know.
POV, you're a fly that just landed on this glass.
Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Tilly.
Nice to meet you.
Cinema.
Yeah, sure. There you go. Sorry for asking that question. I don't know.
No. What do you mean?
Someone warned me that the comments were evil, so I thought I'd apologize down the lens of the camera. You know.
No. It is a perfectly valid question. I think. I was just she was taking photos, so I was trying to pose. No, but yeah, I didn't think anything of it. I think there was way more scathing critiques.
You get evil questions all the time, yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
I just was wondering, since you're quite successful, I know you've got some
Oh, the sweater.
but also, insofar as you've organically grown your following, I'm trying to do that, and I was just wondering if you had any advice.
Yeah, get an uncle.
Besides
with the media company.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, that's been definitely very helpful. I've talked about this quite a bit.
Yeah.
It gives you a major leg up. But I think in the age of TikTok, the opportunities are truly endless. You know what I mean? I would suggest just forcing yourself to do content every single day on TikTok, especially because something is going to hit. And once it does, you're going to start developing an audience. You're going to develop a brand. And you just got to keep doing it over and over again after that. And I think being regimented in that regard is probably the most successful way to boost your brand and to become a brand in general.
Yeah, well, thanks.
No problem.
I guess you want pictures?
All right. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I just want to say thank you for being an accessible voice to me. I'm a medic, so I'm not really involved in the whole politics scene. So it's really, I just want to say thank you, basically.
Oh, of course. Thank you for watching.
No, I'm sorry, I don't have that interesting questions.
No, it's all good. Don't worry about it.
Debate.
You want to? I'm not either.
I mean, you don't give that impression, but
I know. Everyone always thinks I'm a debate lord. I'm not.
Marshall, it's a good thing.
I'll just take a photo.
It was really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And your speech was really, I really liked your line on kind of nothing can change in kind of a couple
That was not my line. That's Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen.
Sick, but yeah. Okay, cool.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Weird, you're a real person.
I am a real person.
Do you find it weird, like meeting people in real life as well, when most of it's kind of?
No, I'm used
Do
to
you
it.
feel
at
you've
this
just always been kind of like confident in bigger groups, or is it like something that's come with it?
I think at this point in my career, it's just I'm used to it. That's what it is. And at first, it was like really exciting because I'd be like, "Oh my God, someone knows who I am! Like that's sick." And then it just became like a normal thing, you know. But yeah, I've been a sociable person my whole life, I would say. Twitch has ruined that a little bit. It's broken my brain, but you know, I try to do my best.
Well, it's weird the way people interact online, isn't it? Like, compared to
Yeah.
in real life. It's like,
Well, we saw that earlier today when people wanted to come at me in a very, fiery way. And I think it plays itself out in like a real personal dynamic in a very different way than it does online, if that makes sense. Where when you can see the person,
no, you could feel the tension in the room.
and you can feel the tension in the room, it's a little different.
Yeah.
I don't think it favors the people with scathing commentary as much as they think it does.
Just people kind of care what normal interaction.
Yeah, I think people kind of look more hysterical in that situation. Yeah, but it is what it is. You want to take a photo?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
What's the pose you like?
Boom. Nice to meet you. Do you guys all have questions, or you want to take photos as well? All right, let's do it.
Sorry for questioning you, but I'm sure.
What? No, I'm used to it.
I guess the thing I was talking a little bit about was, I know you're not a fan of. I'm not a fan of him either, but Richie Torres sent a big letter. But
oh God!
But in particular, there were some comments in there about sort of dismissing. A lot of people did feel very upset at the time. I remember seeing it about dismissing what happened on October 7th as rape fantasies, rape hallucinations. I mean, the UN has gone checked.
Yeah,
verified.
no. You know what's ironic?
For those comments?
You want to know what's ironic about that?
Yeah.
So that was a 17-second clip that Richie Torres got from a group of people that are like, trying to present this narrative that I am a vicious anti-Semite that is a denialist. And what's really interesting about that clip is that I went back because I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I went back and I looked at the 17-second clip that he put in that. And it was actually from a broader conversation where I was arguing against someone who was denying rapes. And I was like, no, I think that there is a very high likelihood that sexual assaults occurred. And I even brought up the UN report that you're suggesting that that there was at least one documented instance of first-hand account testimony from one of the hostages that sexual assault had happened, and that there is no reason to disparage or to claim that it did not happen when there is at least evidence that it did, and that it had not changed the dynamic of genocide for me even a little bit. And I think
that the way in which you said that to a lot of people sounded very, very dismissive. Like, especially to people who, had relatives who were perhaps murdered or taken away, or had felt that, the loss of life on that day.
So let me ask you this question.
Traumatic for the Jewish community.
Let me ask you this question. Now that you know the broader context, do you feel as though, like, do you feel like you were maybe duped? I don't want to say duped, but like that you saw this that was like very clearly out of context. Does that change your opinion a little bit, or do you feel like I'm running defense?
I'm very much on the sort of. I've always been on the pro-Palestine side of this. I'm a left-leaning person, so I never looked at what I saw and said this is justification for blockade, genocide, anything like that. But I did see, I'm also a humanitarian, and I think that it's important when you're trying to solve a conflict or when you're trying to stop violence that you honestly say what happened. And what happened was,
I agree.
Murderous militants went in to a music festival and murdered hundreds of teenagers in cold blood, and often massacred and mutilated them in ways that we have on camera. And that is deeply traumatic to me. And I guess this was linking to a broader point that, yes, I understand this whole thing about there is context to this, and you can't just sort of suggest any violent action is justifiable against someone if they don't hold views you like. But this is endemic to the ideology.
Do you think I maintain that position?
Side, it doesn't.
No. But do you think I maintain that position? Do you think that I think that it was wholeheartedly justifiable?
I think certainly you haven't been very clear in your condemnations at times, and I've watched what you've said.
Okay.
It doesn't seem, for example,
I have
in the course
been.
of your talk, you didn't mention what happened on October 7th once.
Yeah.
You mentioned it as the start of the conflict. You didn't mention...
I don't even think it's the start of the conflict. I actually, if you recall, started the conversation even before the inception of the State of Israel. There's a deliberate reason for why I did that, because I think it's important to understand the historical context in which violent resistance
There's no context for murdering hundreds of teenagers, is there?
I think
is there context for that?
Yes, I think
Really?
there's always
Is that something
context.
that can
Just like
be
there's context.
contextually justified?
I don't think it's a contextual justification. I think it's offering background and analysis. Analysis is not justification. I mean, this is a deliberative body, right? We're in a space for free speech and debate, and I think that this is actually, ironically, one of the things that I don't like about debate is that there is a woeful misinterpretation that exists in this space, and that especially when we talk about certain things, like certain subjects that are very difficult to broach in an open and honest manner, I think a lot gets lost in the nuance. And I think you understand where I'm coming from when I talk about this, like that October 7 is, I've never said that October 7 is like the inception or the first stage in what has unfolded. I think that it's important to understand the context in which violent resistance has evolved, whether it be Hamas or whether it be any militancy against like overarching oppressive colonial actions.
But I suppose what I'm saying to you is there's time for nuance, and there's also time to say something is unequivocally evil and something is unequivocally unjustifiable. And I'm wondering why you can say that correctly about the wealth of Israeli atrocities. But to actually fix this conflict and gain trust with people, you need to say that unequivocally about the murder of hundreds of teenagers at the Supernova Music Festival, their mutilation, and often that. And I don't know why you can't say that.
I don't. First of all, in terms of using the language of mutilation and also consistently saying that there is a contextual justification for it, I think the violence that states engage in, specifically an apartheid state, which you agree is Israel's an apartheid state. Okay, so the violence that an apartheid state engages in is oftentimes considered to be invisible. There is a tremendous number of documented, there's a tremendous number of speakers and media representatives that have actively communicated all of the violence that has unfolded on October 7. I myself have also maintained the position that any kind of violence against civilians is completely unjustifiable. But I think it's more productive to at least be a resilient voice that, especially in the West, that tries to explain that these aren't barbaric monsters, that these are horrifying atrocities that they did, right? But that it is not coming out of a place of this antiquated anti-Semitic tendencies, or that they wanted to go out and like do mass, or any number of different ways in which people have, I think, in a very unhelpful way, tried to claim that there is no emancipatory ambition here, and that there is no valid interest in wanting to be rid of Israeli sovereignty.
Do you think that by invading the Gaza Strip, that they were not motivated by anti-Semitism, given the fact that they were murdering civilians indiscriminately?
Invading the Gaza Strip?
By invading from the Gaza Strip into Israel.
Yeah.
Do you think that they were not motivated by anti-Semitism, given that they were murdering citizens? No.
No.
That is remarkable.
No,
the entire logic of Hamas
I don't.
built on anti-Semitism.
No.
And if you don't recognise that, then you're never going to build any trust with the Jewish community. If you have people who are out there and suggesting that your people don't have a right to exist, the slogan of the Houthis, who you so admire, is "Death to the Jews."
I know, and I've been very critical of that as well.
Well,
I don't know if
critical enough not to platform somebody and call him a sexy pirate.
That person wasn't I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but that was a 19-year-old Yemeni teenager that was actually not associated with the Ansar Allah movement at all.
There is enormous debate about that, and it is highly unlikely he'd be fighting with them if he had no connections to them. And you were not mentioning that in the context of it.
He was not fighting with them. There is a lot that gets lost in the translation, and certainly I think a lot of commentary has existed in this space of a conversation that I had 10 months ago, or at this 11 months ago, before the Ansar Allah administration was even designated as an official state-sponsored terrorist organization, Joe Biden had actually taken them out of that classification that Donald Trump had put them in because of the fact that they were moving on, that the Saudi-Iranian normalization had taken place. And that person, the 19-year-old Yemeni teenager, I originally thought was a Houthi. And I'm very open about that.
And you were perfectly happy to give them a hang.
Oh, absolutely. I think that there is. It would have been a very different conversation. But having said that, if you think that I would have, there were points in that conversation where I asked them directly, "What do you think about Jewish people? What would you say if I were to tell you that there are a lot of Jewish people who are leading anti-Zionist protests in America?" And his answer was very clear. And this is a person that has.
If you talked to an IDF soldier and they said, "Oh, I don't hate Palestinians," you would critically engage and examine that. But you do not critically engage and examine with this individual. And instead, you
because an
IDF
IDF soldier in many circumstances is living in similar conditions to someone like myself. So I treat someone in the Western world with Nazi ambitions very differently.
No, I think this is interesting because it suggests that you don't have a moral universalism. What I've heard from you is this very eloquent, and I agree with it, moral condemnation of the atrocities. But when we talk about the murder of gay people en masse in Yemen, when we talk about, for example, Tibet's oppression under China, or when we talk about what Hamas has done to gay people within there, or what they do to Jewish hostages, you enter this contextual blather. And it strikes me that these...
Because you want to know why? You want to know why? Because Israel has killed significantly larger numbers of gay Palestinians than Hamas has. And that is precisely why I think it's a universally unproductive conversation to consistently talk about the many different moral failings, especially when I look at this with my own personal background, with the understanding that reactionary movements grow when there are outside forces that are invading a country. This is something that I actually talked about with respect to Ukraine as well, that while there were many movements within Ukraine that were constantly fighting against paramilitary groups that had started off as offshoots of football hooligans, the Azov Brigade being one of them, that once Ukraine was invaded by Russia, that the inevitable violence was going to make all of the most right-wing reactionary forces the emancipatory forces that were going to dominate the country in perpetuity. We saw this with Iran. The destabilization of Iran, backed by the CIA, caused the Ayatollah to overtake the country. Because in most circumstances, when Western forces or an outside force is coming into your country, you don't care about who is actually fighting back. You just want the pain to stop. You want the violence to end. And I examine this across the board in the exact same vein. When a larger, more powerful country meddles in the affairs of a smaller country, no matter how big or small. Yeah, Iran, exactly. Iran is a perfect example of this. I think that the Iranian destabilization and the implementation of the Shah regime is quite literally the reason why the Ayatollahs were able to gain momentum.
The intervention of Iran in the other powers, but in terms of the broader problem with that.
But do you understand where I'm coming from? Because there is universality there, and I think the universality is hard to grasp, especially if you've grown up in the United Kingdom, or if you've grown up in America. It's very difficult for people in the Western world to shed themselves of Western chauvinist frameworks and engage in, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but engage in what I have seen as pinkwashing by consistently talking about the internal dynamics of any kind of resistance group when, in fact, we do not make those considerations for many of our allies, and it's not even something that is remotely brought up in this conversation as far as universality goes. I've never heard anybody go, we got to stop giving Saudi Arabia weapons because of the horrifying treatment of gay people. I still think it's unjustifiable, just like it's unjustifiable in Yemen. But ultimately, the way I look at it, if there is a much larger, much more powerful country that is getting unlimited weapons from the most powerful country on the planet, and they are engaging in wholesale slaughter, I think analyzing or interpreting the dynamic of Hamas and gay people in that regard is ultimately not only unproductive, but also it's not something that is within our realm of power even. I think that these countries, my country, Turkey, for example, will inevitably, once they have breathing room, have the time and opportunity to be able to advocate for their own civil liberties. Because at the end of the day, the gay people that Hamas could potentially harm are still gay Palestinians. Does that make sense? And we have the benefit of living in the UK or in the United States of America, where we have undergone this process of civil liberties and advocacy for civil liberties and be able to overcome these issues, like the structural hurdles, the systematic discrimination that gay people face. Like, I mean, think about Alan Turing.
I think there are two issues. Sorry if I just could respond quickly.
If I can just say, you've been debating for a very long time, and by all means.
Sorry, I don't mean to.
No, it's fine.
I would love to sort of offer some of Cambridge Union's sort of fantastic hospitality, maybe trade British culture, maybe take you for a pint at the pub.
Sure. Can we film it? Can we still stream it?
We can film. We'll go to a pub, have a pint. Because you've been debating for a very long time. I love debating as well, but
I hate debating.
Sorry.
That's I am not. A lot of people think I'm
fair enough to debate about things in which you fundamentally disagree.
Oh, no, of course.
We don't get anywhere in society without doing that.
Sure, but there's a line of people too, so maybe be considerate.
Yeah. We'll get back. Yeah.
We would love to.
Do you guys want to take photos?
Let's get some pics.
All right.
We'll take you
Okay.
to the pub.
Because I'll never stop.
Have you been to the pub before?
I've only been to Spoons.
Oh, well, we'll take you to a famous Cambridge one.
Okay. Hell yeah, I love that. All right. Hi.
Hi. Can we also just say something like we've had chat open this entire time?
Yeah.
And you've opened an amazing space for men to talk about these issues. There are a lot of comments. I've seen some emo-only moments where people are just talking about appearance and completely kind of ignoring these issues. How do you deal with that as an online creator?
I have a very diverse moderation team, and they try to handle that at the best of their ability. We usually ban a lot of people that do that sort of stuff to just to really stress the importance of not engaging in that sort of thing. It's very frustrating because it's probably one of the best moderated communities to the best of our ability. I mean, when there's a stadium full of people, and especially because I want to make sure that anyone can talk. Most people will, especially at this size, they'll usually do sub-only. Yeah. They'll have sub-only chat, or they'll limit how you can communicate. And I don't want to paywall that at all. That's why I have this 10-minute follower mode, so that we can withstand bot attacks usually. But that's the downside of it, unfortunately, where anyone and everyone can just wait 10 minutes and they just say a bunch of unhinged, unfortunately.
I hope they're being nice to us. So
I mean, 30,000 people calling you ginger or gay is a lot.
Were they doing that?
Not to you. To the ginger gay man.
Oh, that's crazy.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Also, for the record, it is a very gay community, so I don't. Yeah, they're not.
I don't know, handshake, whatever.
I love your glasses.
Thank you. I love yours, by the way.
Oh,
great outfit.
thank you.
Loving the whole
thank
English
you.
professor get up.
I'm trying.
No, you assimilated well. Okay, this is going to be a really weird request, and I know there are 30,000 people watching this.
Okay.
My mother is a huge fan.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And so when she found out this event was going on, she asked if I could do a favor for her. She lives back in Texas.
Of course.
She just wanted a shout out or something.
Yeah. What do you want me to say?
Just a hi. Her name's Chantel.
Chantel?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else? But I'm sure you can think of something.
Okay.
Hopefully, because I can't. But.
Hi, Chantel. I hope you're having a great time in Texas. You have a wonderful son here. He's great. And I would say, you should come to England, but honestly, Texas might be maybe slightly marginally a little bit better. Better weather, at least. But I hope you're having a great time, and thank you for watching.
I mean, to be fair, she was born in England, so she's had the best and worst of both worlds.
Okay. All right. So she knows.
She knows.
She knows that the sun sets at 3 p.m. here. That's crazy. That should not be allowed. You guys need to fix that. I don't know how.
It gets worse.
Yeah, it's cold and dreary, and a lot of traffic, but it's still very nice sometimes, so I like it.
You enjoyed at least some of it.
No, I did, yeah. This was great. Sometimes it's good to let loose and debate a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
I was gonna ask, like, what made you get into, like, want to go onto Twitch specifically as a platform to, like, kind of spread?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
So I played video games my whole life, and I recognized that there was a real gap in like video game politics space for leftist commentary, and part of that was because like a lot of the gamers, just at least the political gamers, are very alt-right or center-right adjacent. They constantly talk about like wokeness in video games and all the, and I knew that wasn't the case because I knew that like gamers are in general very diverse. The other reason why I got on Twitch was because I needed a place where I could just like endlessly talk. And I felt like the live streaming format was very conducive for that purpose. And now I can't seem to shut up, so I guess it worked. But those were the two primary reasons. Like I wanted to show that like you can be a progressive person and not necessarily be, you know, a cartoonish depiction, like a woke scold, like someone who's constantly like, that's bad, that's wrong, and a joy killer. And I think that there's a lot of people like that out there that just want to have fun, but also be progressive and not allow certain kinds of aggressive, bigoted behavior to exist in a community. So I wanted to create a safe space like that.
Well, I agree. I feel like you've done a lot for particularly young men who I think otherwise might have been tempted by the alt-right within its kind of like position in social media and in gaming, like you said. So I think it's really good. And like, because as a female viewer, I feel like I am slightly outnumbered maybe by the men, but that might be a good thing. We don't know. Like, perhaps, do you think that you have felt that you've had that impact where...
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I tried to. I think that there's a lot of what I speak to is directly trying to change the minds of people who don't share that opinion from the start. So whether it be me talking about patriarchal constructs or you know, transphobia, homophobia, bigotry of all different sorts, I'm oftentimes trying to communicate with people that and trying to reach out to people that don't share that opinion. And I try to use, you know, the way I look and my background and everything else to suit that purpose. And it just happens to be that I'm authentically myself, and it works out that way. But yeah, that's definitely a deliberate thing. I recognize that, you know, there are a lot of people who have these opinions, and I think they can be convinced to not have these opinions. So that's my overall purpose.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then finally, what's it like to see first drafts of yourself, like on TikTok or?
It's great. I grew up very fat, and
I guess it's quite confidence boosting. Yeah.
I mean, it's fun. I don't mind it, you know. And it's like I feel like it's one thing that all my haters can't necessarily undermine. You know what I mean? So it's like one area of streamlined propaganda where they just can't be like, nah, he sucks, he's ugly. They can say anything else.
In your favor,
so you know, I'll take it.
That's really cool. Because I just watched your video of Quen where you were doing like the cooking, and there were so many edits made from that.
Yeah. She's great. Quen is dope.
Yeah, she's really cool. Can I get a picture?
Yeah, of course. No.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Good? You want one?
Yes, please.
Okay. and you want one as well, right?
I can have one.
All right.
Not enough.
You should definitely get one.
Yeah.
You've been very helpful.
I grew up as a fat kid as well.
Oh.
And I think it's cool that you're spreading the fitness goal. I watched
Hell yeah.
Mike Israetel.
You watched the Mike Israetel collab?
That was really cool.
Yeah, he's a very interesting guy. I mean, we don't agree on like. I mean, he's like an Ayn Rand lover, from what I understand. But like, I love his commentary on fitness, and I think he's like a well-rounded person in general, regardless of like, you know, maybe some political disagreements. I think it's good to be able to have that, like, have a conversation like that, especially with someone who, you know, has a massive male audience that's focused on fitness. Yeah, he's dope.
I love him as well.
Yeah, he's great.
Get a pic, man.
All right.
No, I mean, I actually agree with motion.
You did great. You were great.
I said you.
Yeah, I hope I did better than Peter Thiel.
He tried his best.
Yeah, he did.
He's only a small time guy.
Yeah. I don't want to be. Yeah, we're not.
He sold a weapon or two.
Yeah, it's
the best of us.
Yeah, just some surveillance tag here and there.
You know how it is.
All right, what's the move?
I think we can try and go to the pub. I'm down to do that.
Can we? Because I look bad in the other one.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't think anyone would like
care.
Yeah.
I'll keep it low key.
Yeah, of course.
Just because I just look. I don't mind.
I like the sweater.
Thanks. It's not. There's no affiliation.
yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, perfect. What kind of? We can go for like a more traditional one.
Well, you're pretty much like around the corner.
We could take you to.
Okay, I'm gonna tell them.
Your stuff's over here.
On the Pickle or the Eagle. We could.
All right.
The Eagle's older, right?
It's a bit further.
A bit further, yeah. What are you guys like time-wise?
We're good. I mean, we're chilling. I think.
The Eagle. That's where DNA was discovered. There's also a U.S. military bar.
Oh God.
No, definitely not that one. I need to run to the green room and grab a bag.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, you want to put it down for a second?
Sure. You want to grab them? Well, can we just run to the green room real quick?
Yeah, let's just do that. All right, let's do it. What are you missing?
The carrying case.
Oh, true. All right.
That's it.
How do we get out of here? I'm here.
Yeah, I just started.
Okay.